All right, listener, you sent us this massive guide on succeeding with an online business. I gotta say, the whole moving customers up the pyramid thing, that really caught my eye.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Plus, how they use the 80/20 rule for customer value,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
that sounds like a game changer, you
It
know?
really is. When you apply that 80/20 principle in the right spots, it can be really powerful.
Right.
I'm also really curious to see how this guide tackles the money stuff, like how it connects unit economics to actual business growth.
So let's just jump right in. The guide starts with a pretty crazy stat. They say only 3% of any market is ready to buy at any given time.
Wow.
Yeah, they call it the 3% problem. That's a tiny slice.
It is, and it's so easy to get caught up in chasing that 3%, especially when you've got so much competition.
Right.
But the real opportunity is engaging that other 97%.
The people who aren't ready to buy right now. And
Exactly.
that's where that larger market pyramid comes in, right?
Yeah, yeah, they break down the whole market into 4 categories.
Based on buying readiness.
Uh-huh. You've got your 3% ready to buy now,
Right.
then another 17% doing their research.
Gathering information.
Exactly.
Buy.
Then there's the 20% who know they've got a problem, but they're not really looking for a solution yet.
Okay.
And then the biggest chunk, 50% of the market, doesn't even realize they have a problem that you can solve.
Wow. Okay, so
Huge.
yeah, so how do we tap into that? How do we get to them? And the guide really emphasizes education-based marketing as a way to kind of move people up this pyramid.
Right, right. You essentially become a trusted advisor by providing valuable content instead of like hitting them over the head with a sales pitch.
Right,
You're
right.
guiding them towards recognizing they have a need and that your business can help them.
Yeah, it's funny they give this example of a home builder, right? And instead of just some typical, buy a house ad,
Right.
they had this headline that said, "Warning, do not buy a new house before reading our free report."
Oh, wow.
Pretty good way to grab attention.
It is. It is. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, is that genuine? Like the customer who's really savvy, are they going to see through that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it feels a little bit manipulative, doesn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, maybe that kind of fear-based tactic works for the initial grab, but long term,
Right.
building that trust by actually giving real value without having to resort to those kinds of things might be a stronger approach.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So moving on, another strategy, diversifying traffic sources.
Hmm.
And they really warn against putting all your eggs in one basket, like just relying on Google ads.
Yeah.
They even mention like how back in 2016, Google changed their landscape and it really hurt businesses that weren't diversified.
Yeah, relying on any one platform is risky because what works today
Okay.
might not work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if you've got your efforts spread across different channels like, SEO, social media ads, content marketing, you're creating a much safer foundation.
That's like that safety net.
Exactly.
And they talk about the importance of knowing your cost per lead, CPL, and your cost per acquisition.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that you're actually acquiring customers profitably.
Right, not just getting tons of leads that don't go anywhere.
Yeah, you got to find what works, make it even better, and then you can try doing it on other platforms too.
Okay.
Like once you have a really good offer on one channel, then you can look into things like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, retargeting.
So it's not just about getting more traffic.
Right.
It's about turning that traffic into paying customers.
Exactly. You're building a system that can handle anything.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now, something that can really make or break a business, right? They call it unit economics.
Yeah, unit economics, the source defines it as like the direct revenues and costs associated with a specific business action expressed on a per unit basis.
Okay. So in plain English, what does that actually mean for someone running a business?
Well, it's all about understanding the financial building blocks of your business. Like your CPL, that's how much it costs you to get a new lead.
Right.
And then there's customer lifetime value, LTV,
Right.
which is basically the total profit a customer makes for you over their whole time doing business with you.
Okay. And the source says that the most important metric of all of this is CPA, or cost per acquisition.
It is. It is.
Why is that?
Because your CPA tells you how much you can spend to get a new customer and still be profitable. It's like your financial roadmap. If you know your numbers, you can make, smarter choices about your marketing and your growth.
So it's almost like a budget for getting a new customer.
Exactly.
You're not just thinking about that first sale, but the potential for them to buy, again, maybe even refer other people.
Right. And that's what sets you apart from the competition who might just be throwing money around without really knowing what they're doing.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's like knowing your numbers is the key to sustainable growth.
Hmm.
Speaking of growth, let's talk about sales funnels.
Okay.
And the source uses this awesome example of McDonald's.
Hmm.
Did you know that they only make 11 cents profit on a hamburger initially?
Yeah, but then they hit you with the, would you like fries with that? And suddenly that 11 cents becomes $1.13 per customer.
Yeah.
That's the power of the sales funnel.
Right. They're not making a lot on that initial burger, but then they're strategically offering you other things to increase that average purchase.
Exactly. It's classic upselling. And it works for any business, not just fast food.
So the big takeaway is to bump up that lifetime value.
Hmm.
You know, we were talking about that earlier.
A good sales funnel really lets you, get the most out of your investment.
Yeah.
Every customer becomes this potential source of income that keeps coming back.
Right. And it all ties back into those unit economics we were talking about.
It
If you
does.
know your numbers and have a strong sales funnel,
Hmm.
you can invest in getting new customers without worrying because, you'll be making a profit in the long run.
That's right. It's about shifting your focus from that one-time sale
Yeah.
to building a real long-term relationship with your customers.
Oh, okay, making sense. Now, for the strategy that the source considers the most important, knowing your customer better than the competition does,
Right.
they even say it's more important than all the other strategies put together.
Yeah, they call it the halo effect. It goes way beyond just knowing their age or their gender.
Okay, so what is the halo effect then?
It's about knowing what your customer wants, what they're afraid of, what they hope for, what they dream of. It's about understanding their psychology,
Mm.
not just demographics.
So it's like you're creating a detailed customer persona, but it goes beyond just the surface.
Exactly. The source says that when you really know your customer, you can figure out what they need before they even know it,
Okay.
and you can make your marketing really connect with them at an emotional level.
But how do you actually do that? How do you get that level of insight?
Well, the source says to really dig into the words your customers use. Look at what they say in forums, comments, reviews, social media.
So places like LinkedIn forums, Amazon reviews, YouTube comments.
Yeah, those are gold mines.
Okay.
Because when you pay attention to their language, you're getting a real sense of their pain points, their motivations, what they want to achieve.
It's like listening in on their conversations,
Yeah, exactly.
finding out what makes them tick.
And then you can use that knowledge to create campaigns and messaging that really speaks to them.
So by understanding their language, you can speak directly to them,
Exactly.
connect with them on a deeper level.
That's what makes you different. You're connecting with them as people, not just bombarding them with sales messages.
All right, so we've covered a lot here. We talked about shifting customers up that pyramid,
Hmm.
building multiple traffic sources,
Yeah.
getting a handle on unit economics,
Yep.
creating those killer sales funnels,
Mm.
and really truly understanding your ideal customer.
It's the recipe for success online.
Yeah, it's a whole approach where every part works together.
Right, but ultimately it comes down to you actually taking action, putting these strategies to work.
Right, right.
The source has this interesting point about the 80-20 rule applied to customers.
Oh, yeah, yeah. They say that roughly 80% of a business's revenue comes from just 20% of its customers.
Exactly. So the question is, what if you could really figure out who those top 20% are?
What could you learn from them?
What do they have in common? How do they buy? What motivates them?
Right.
And most importantly, how can you use that information to attract more customers just like them?
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
It's about finding your most valuable customers,
Hmm.
understanding what makes them tick. Yeah, and then repeating that success to attract more just like them.
It's a constant process of learning and improving.
Absolutely.
You always got to be refining your approach.
So they're not making bank on the burger itself, but then
Right.
they offering phrase and drinks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They increase that average.
It's a classic upselling technique,
Right.
and it applies to, pretty much any business.
So the key takeaway here, I guess, is to increase the lifetime value of each customer,
Absolutely.
which we were talking about a little earlier.
Exactly. A well-designed sales funnel lets you maximize that return on your investment
Yeah.
by turning each customer into, a recurring source of revenue.
And it all comes back to those unit economics.
It does.
If you know your numbers and you've got a solid sales funnel in place,
Uh-huh.
you can really invest in acquiring new customers with confidence, knowing you'll make a profit over time.
Yeah, you're not just thinking about that first sale anymore.
Right.
You're building those lasting, profitable relationships.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, the source really emphasizes this one strategy. They call it the most crucial one, knowing your customer better than the competition does.
Yeah, they say it's even more important than all the others combined. They
Wow.
call it the halo effect, and it goes way deeper than just knowing, how old they are or what gender they are.
So, what exactly does that mean? What's the halo effect?
It's about getting to know their desires, their fears or hopes, their dreams.
Hmm.
It's like getting inside their head.
Really understanding their psychology, not just demographics.
Exactly. The source argues that if you truly know your customer,
Yeah.
you can anticipate their needs
Okay.
and create marketing that really resonates with them on an emotional level.
Okay, but how do you actually do that? How do you get that kind of insight?
The source suggests diving deep into customer language,
Okay.
analyzing what they say, in forums, comments, reviews on social media.
So things like LinkedIn forums, Amazon reviews, YouTube comments.
Exactly. Those are gold.
Okay.
Because by paying attention to how they express themselves, you're getting a glimpse into their pain points, their motivations, their
It's
aspirations.
like you're eavesdropping on their conversation
In a way, yeah.
and figuring out what really makes them tick.
And once you have that knowledge, you can craft your message, your campaigns,
Hmm.
to really resonate with them.
So you're speaking directly to them,
Yeah, connecting on a human level.
not just blasting them with generic ads.
Exactly. That's how you stand out from the crowd.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about shifting customers up the pyramid,
Hmm.
building multiple traffic sources, mastering those unit economics, crafting those high-powered sales funnels,
Hmm.
and really truly understanding your ideal customer.
It's a whole recipe for online business success.
It is. It's a holistic approach where everything works together.
But at the end of the day, it's up to you to put these strategies into action.
Right, you got to walk the walk.
The source makes an interesting point about the 80-20 rule applied to customers.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. They say that something like 80% of a business's revenue comes from just 20% of its customers.
Exactly. So the question is, if you could pinpoint that top 20%,
Yeah.
what could you learn from them?
What do they have in common? What are their buying habits? What are their motivations?
Exactly. And how can you use that knowledge to attract even more customers just like them?
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
It's about finding your most valuable customers,
Uh-huh.
figuring out what makes them tick,
Yeah.
and then using that to bring in more just like them.
It's a constant process of learning and refining your approach.
Absolutely, always evolving. Feels like we've really uncovered a treasure map to online business success.
It is. And like any good treasure map, you really have to study it.
Right.
Be willing to go into uncharted territory.
Absolutely. So, listener, if you're ready to embark on your own adventure, to online business success, remember what we talked about today.
Right. Understanding the customer journey and how to move them through your sales funnel.
Yeah,
Diversifying those traffic sources to create a more stable business.
right. Not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And then mastering unit economics, making sure you're making data-driven decisions.
Right, and sustainable growth.
Yeah, building those sales funnels that really maximize the value of each customer.
Yeah,
But most importantly, truly understanding your ideal customer.
right. Getting inside their head.
Yeah, understanding their motivations, their language.
Absolutely. If you can put all of this into practice, you'll be well on your way to a thriving online business.
You will, but remember, it's a journey.
Right. It's not a destination.
The online world's always changing.
Right. It's constantly evolving.
So stay curious, keep learning, don't be afraid to try new things.
Absolutely. And who knows, you might even uncover some of your own hidden treasures along the way.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, listener.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We'll catch you next time.